What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle. In this video, August 15th, week 2 of the preseason, we're going to be doing a mock draft here. I'm going to be using Sleeper. This is going to be a 10-team mock draft using the 4th overall pick for you guys. And again, half PPR. Let me hop into a screen share here and we'll get this started for you guys. I'm just going to do a simulated Sleeper mock. I really like Sleeper's platform for mock drafting. You can just bop out a quick one and just knock it out and kind of keep doing a couple of them. But this one is for Vimo Skowitz, 5921, requested a 10-man half PPR on Sleeper for the 4th pick. They said half PPR, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, pretty standard. Draft is in 2 days, so he's drafting tomorrow night. So we'll get this done for you, and hopefully we can help you out a little bit. The settings, again, I got 2 running backs, 3 receivers, a tight end, a flex. I removed defense and kicker because sometimes let's just put them in there because sometimes when you do a mock by yourself, they kind of go a little bit higher than they should. But I'm going to update that, and I think we're good to go. Let's get this thing started. I'm going to claim the 4th overall pick, and it's saying JJ, Chase, or JJ, CMC, Chase, and Eckler are the top 4. I agree. These are the only 4 guys that we should be looking at here. You can maybe make an argument for Kelsey, but let's get right into it. I'm going to hit start, and we'll make our pick. So Chase, Jefferson, McCaffrey, we're going to collect Austin Eckler here. Again, I think you could make an argument for Travis Kelsey. And in a 10-team league, man, you do get an advantage at getting one of the top-end QBs, one of the top-end tight ends. But I think we can execute a tight end strategy here. I'm going to lock in Austin Eckler. I think he's my number 1 player in half PPR projection. So we're going to grab Eckler here and then see what happens. I think, to me, there's a clear top 6 running back. So anytime you have a chance to grab one of these top 6 guys, you have to do it. Because we're going to like the receivers here at 2.7. And honestly, they gave us one of the running backs that I absolutely love. So I think I'm going to double down here and go running back, start. After I took Eckler, you see Kupp, Kelsey, Saquon Barkley's one of those running backs that I mentioned that you got to take when you can. Tyreek, AJ Brown, Bijan, and Nick Chubb are both running backs in my top 5. CeeDee Lamb, Stephon Diggs, Pat Mahomes, Jonathan Taylor, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I absolutely love Amon-Ra St. Brown. If he's here, I think I'm clicking on him to be my wide receiver 1. But the guy that sticks out here is Tony Pollard because the rest of the running backs I do not really trust. I don't trust Derrick Henry. I don't trust Josh Jacobs. Hopefully he gets in the training camp soon, but even then, the vibes in the Raiders are not great. Tony Pollard sticks out as he's like a top 5 running back for me. He's actually in my top 6 with the guys that I mentioned here, CMC, Eckler, Barkley, Bijan, Chubb. So I'm going to go Tony Pollard here. I think there's going to be some receivers that sneak back around here. And essentially, I know I'm going to be a little bit weaker at wide receiver 1, but we're going to be able to fill out some depth there. There is 3 startable wide receivers here, but anytime you can get Austin Eckler and Tony Pollard, I think you kind of have to do it. And I like all these receivers here, man. And we're going to get someone to fall to us. So I'm going to take Tony Pollard, I think he's my RB3 in half PPR projections. So we got Eckler, we got Tony Pollard. Let's see what falls back to us. After Pollard, you got Henry, Waddle, Jacobs, Devontae Adams at 3.1, Andrews, and Josh Allen. And guess what? We get some stud receivers to fall to us. Again, not interested at the running backs here. Receivers, you got Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, T. Higgins, Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf. Those are kind of the top 5 for me. I do want to go look at my projections real quick, and let's see who I got listed as half PPR receivers. 1 second. Come on. It's not working. There we go. All right. So I do have Jalen Waddle, CeeDee Lamb. I have Garrett Wilson as my wide receiver 10. So this is telling me to take Garrett Wilson here. If you like Olave, I'm fine with that. They're both wide receiver 1s on their team. Higgins and Devonta Smith are both wide receiver kind of 2s, 1Bs on their team. And then DK is, the 1A, but he's also got Lockett and JSN there. So I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson here. Ignore the questionable tag. I think he's going to be just fine. He's also the highest projected receiver here for Sleeper. So we went with the 2 running backs. We hit wide receiver here. We'll see what wide receivers fall back to us here at the 4-7. Jalen Hurts, Chris Olave, T. Higgins, Ramondre Stevenson, Joe Burrow, DK Metcalf ends round 3. Devonta Smith at 4.1 looks pretty nice. Brees, I love Jahmyr Gibbs in a full PPR, not so much in half PPR. ETN, a pretty good pick. Lamar, Keenan Allen, and they're giving us some really good wide receiver options here. They did have Najee fall, Debo, Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones. I like these guys a little bit. But I'm kind of coming around to Debo Samuel being a good pick. I really like Calvin Ridley as well. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley here. I think he's the best receiver available. Debo might be the best playmaker available, but I have really good vibes for Calvin Ridley and the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. I know Christian Kirk got the touchdown in the preseason game, but Calvin Ridley got the most snaps. He is the wide receiver one for Trevor Lawrence. He's going to continue to get stronger as the season goes on. So let's get Calvin Ridley as our wide receiver one, I guess as our wide receiver two. And we'll see what falls back to us. I think there's going to be some good ones here. After I take Ridley, you got Debo, Najee, Kenneth Walker, Cooper, Aaron Jones, and TJ Hawkinson. Let's just see who's all available here. Fields and Herbert are great quarterback plays, but I think we might wait and see what happens at the 6-7 turn for us. It's all wide receiver for me. I'm not super into Hopkins, but I think he's fine as a number 3. Terry McLaurin, these guys are all really solid number 3 wide receivers. I think I'm going to go with Jerry Jeudy. He's attached to probably the best passing quarterback of this group. I do like Brandon Ayuk and Mike Williams, but maybe we can get them on the 7 turn. So let's grab Jerry Jeudy. I think he is the clear wide receiver 1 for the Denver Broncos. He looked good in the preseason. And to be honest, our wide receiver 3, again, we started 2 running back heavy. So we continued to build out our wide receiver room here with Wilson, Ridley, and Jerry Jeudy, all number 1s on their team. It feels pretty good. And it looks like it's going to spit another wide receiver back to us here. So after I take Jeudy, you got McLaurin, Akers, Dobbins, who I like a lot in half PPR, Mixon, Hopkins, and Justin Fields, end of round 5. Sanders, Pierce, London, Kittle, Godwin, Christian Watson. That would have been a good pick there. But looking around here, Justin Herbert has fallen here, and we do have Austin Eckler. So if you are into this idea, I think we could pull him. Now, Team 3 does have a QB. Team 1 and 2 are probably going to take Justin Herbert. We do have an out with Trevor Lawrence, and we have, Calvin Ridley here, but I think I'm going to go with Justin Herbert here, getting him round 6. I think at the end of the year, whether one of these guys misses a game or 2, whatever, if Herbert plays healthy the whole season, he's going to be a top 5 QB. So let's lock in one of the best quarterbacks in football. We got Herbert paired with Austin Eckler. We're getting every single touchdown by the Chargers by doing that. So that's a really fun stack. Kamara, DJ Moore, Kyle Pitts, Christian Kirk. There goes Trevor Lawrence and Jahan Dotson. And we're still on the board here, guys. So the running backs look okay. But because we went Austin Eckler, Tony Pollard, I think I'm okay with maybe missing there. Tight ends, Dallas Goedert and Darren Waller are both like 2 of my favorite options here. I do like the receivers a lot as well. Ayuk, Mike Williams. We should probably take one of these guys, but I can get Deontay Johnson or George Pickens down here, maybe Treylon Burks. I think the move in a 10-team league, you want a good tight end, and Goddard and Darren Waller are the final guys here. And also because I didn't get access to the Eagles offense, I think that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take Dallas Goedert to be my tight end 1. He's got an ADP of 65, so it makes sense. And our starting group is pretty much filled. We do need a flex, so we'll continue to take running backs and wide receivers here for a little bit. Now that we got our QB1 and our tight end 1 locked in, I'm not going to worry about those guys until later. So we're back up to pick here. Darren Waller is still available. We could grab him, but Mike Evans, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Treylon Burks. Let me look at the backup running backs. Rashad White. We're going to collect David Montgomery here. That's the pick here that I want. We could have maybe got Darren Waller here, but I feel a little bit stronger about Goddard over Darren Waller just for a health concern. So we're going to take I like Deontay a lot here too, but I'm going to take David Montgomery to be my RB3. He's going to be my flex. And then I think we're going to grab that other wide receiver. So we're going to have a little bit of a flex competition between Montgomery and then another receiver here. We're also, we're 3 deep at running back and wide receiver here. So we have a good balance, but because we do start 3 wide receivers, it might make sense to grab another one here. But man, I'll tell you what, I'm going to grab James Cook. James Cook shouldn't be this low. Like, we got Eckler, Pollard, and David Montgomery. In a half PPR league, I'm fine with starting 3 running backs every week. So I'm going to grab James Cook, who's kind of locked in as the starting running back for the Buffalo Bills. I do like James Cook more in half PPR, but man, if he's getting touchdowns and if he's getting a lot of rushing attempts and receiving work, he's a really fun pick. He's also another chip in a really good offense in Buffalo. So we'll grab James Cook. And then at that point, our running backs look really good. Eckler, Pollard, Montgomery, and James Cook. We need some receivers. So I think our next handful of picks here will be the wide receiver position here. And I would have loved Brandon Cooks to fall to us. We do get Gabe Davis, Zay Flowers here at the top of the list. I'm going to take Zay Flowers. It sounds like he's been pretty much unguardable in training camp. And I do want to recommend you guys grab a rookie wide receiver. What's going on, Chase? Hope you're doing well, my man. But I do want to recommend a wide receiver for you guys. And I think that's Zay Flowers. He's the guy that I'm looking for in half PPR. Let's take a look here. So James Cook, Zay Flowers on the bench. Starters are Herbert, Eckler, Pollard, Garrett Wilson, Calvin Ridley, Jerry Jeudy, Dallas Goedert, and David Montgomery. So I'm feeling pretty good about just the balance of this team. Let me go back here and look at all available. Anthony Richardson's at the top of the list. I usually don't like grabbing a QB2, but because this is a mock draft, I'm going to do it. Anything happens to Justin Herbert, we got Anthony Richardson on the bench. And again, I think Anthony Richardson is a guy that a lot of people are kind of discounting right now for his passing ability. His passing ability almost doesn't matter. We want him for his rushing upside. And if Jonathan Taylor's not going to be in there all the time, Richardson's just going to get a ton of opportunities to score touchdowns. So I don't usually recommend grabbing a QB2. I'm going to do it here, though, just in case, see what happens. Maybe we can end up trading him, something like that. But Anthony Richardson is the ideal QB2 in a redraft league right now. So I'll grab him, and then we're going to continue to build out our wide receiver group. We have 4 good ones: Garrett Wilson, Calvin Ridley, Jerry Jeudy, and Zay Flowers. And we're hoping for this guy to fall to us, and he does. I do like top available here is Elijah Moore, Beckham, Alan Lazard. We're going to take Elijah Moore here. I do have one more receiver that we're going to grab on the comeback here, but Elijah Moore, I like him more in a full PPR league. I think half PPR league, he's still going to be very valuable. And for him to be our wide receiver 5, he's going to compete with Zay Flowers, for our 4th man up. So we'll grab Elijah Moore here and continue to fill out that wide receiver bench, hoping this guy falls to us, and then we'll be done drafting wide receivers. And we get him. Please, please, please take Sky Moore before your draft. I guess during your draft. He's one of the biggest sleepers here. And on sleeper here in the half PPR ADP, he's way too low in a 10-team league, 127th ranked. He should be a top 100, top 110 player. So by getting Sky Moore here, we're essentially hoping that we get the number 1 receiver for Pat Mahomes in the slot. We got six good ones. I mean, I feel good about Wilson, Ridley, and Jeudy. And then we got some bullets here in Zay Flowers, Elijah Moore, and Sky Moore. We have 3 picks left. I always like leaving kicker and defense for my final picks. I just don't like burning a roster spot that high on them. If we wanted a rookie tight end or something like that, we could totally grab a guy. Kincaid went already, but Luke Musgrave, he's still available. I think we're going to be able to find a tight end on the waiver wire that we like. So I'm not overly concerned about that. We have one more bench spot to fill. Singletary, Bigsby, Elliott, Rashawn. There we go. We're grabbing Jaylen Warren. Make sure you grab Jaylen Warren in your draft. I actually was pretty surprised at how many snaps and opportunity they gave him in the preseason. He actually out-touched and out-snapped Najee Harris. I don't think it's crazy to say this, but I personally think Jaylen Warren's a better back than Najee Harris. It's not going to take too long. I think we're going to see Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren almost form a 50-50 split. So very, very excited about Jaylen Warren. Absolutely love getting Sky Moore and Jaylen Warren this late in the draft. We can get a kicker here. We can get a defense. Defenses are not coming off the board. You got tons of good ones here. I'm going to see if one comes back to us. Maybe. No, they're all going to go right now. So I'm just going to grab the New Orleans Saints defense. That's a team I want for the entire season. And then I'll make my final kick with kicker here. Justin, I'll hit you up on Twitter after this. We'll talk about the trades and whatnot. But I'm not shy saying it. I'd rather have Montgomery over Joe Mixon. So kicker here. Seattle kicker is going to be good. The Jags kicker is going to be good. Chargers go for too many extra point or 2-point conversions and 4th downs. So I don't love that. I do think Graham Gano is interesting as well. I'm just going to take the Seahawks kicker, Graham Gano or Jason Myers, and we'll call it a day. But there you go. That is our quick 10-team mock draft on Sleeper. I think we did pretty good. Eckler and Pollard at the RB2 spots. Wilson, Ridley, and Jerry Jeudy are top 3 wideouts. We ended up stacking Herbert with Austin Eckler. Dallas Goedert and Darren Waller are my 2 favorite tight ends to draft right now. So try and get one of those guys if you can. Look like Darren Waller fell a lot, but I love Dallas Goedert. I think he's a top 5 option this year. We went back to the running back well with Montgomery and James Cook. These guys are our running backs off the bench for us. Zay Flowers, Elijah Moore, and Sky Moore. Those guys are going to compete, to be our 4th or 5th wide receiver off the bench. We got Anthony Richardson in our back pocket, which just feels stupid. And then Jaylen Warren is our final handcuff surprise pick here with the Saints and Jason Myers. So I really like this draft, man. you want all these guys if you can get them. This draft I think was probably one of my best mock drafts that we've pulled off here. So a lot of fun. Chase, I'll hit you up after this video is done. But either way, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and yeah, we'll see you guys in a future video. Peace.